Game Developers Conference in San Francisco has just wrapped up, and it's interesting to see some of the things that have come out of this conference. This conference is a everybody game developer conference. If you make a game in any way, shape, or form, or if you're looking at developing games, this is the conference that everyone goes to. But there's certain things that do pop up at this conference that you have to sit there and ask, what is going on? Especially when they hold a sit-in in the middle of a park where you can just scream at the top of your lungs at the current state of the industry, or where you can learn how to be uncancelled during their "so you've been cancelled" event. This first one comes from PC Gamer, but before we fully get into it, subscribe to the channel. Everyone that subscribes to the channel, I thank you immensely that you do. Watch a bunch of game developers screaming in a public park to protest the state of the industry. It feels hard to be here and pretend like everything is fine. This is kind of one of those things you go, if you were a normie walking by, you would sit there and go, what in the world is going on in this park? Amidst the excitement of GDC, dozens of developers share a moment of pure catharsis. Developers at GDC gathered today to express their feelings about the state of the game industry in what under the circumstance is really the only reasonable way to react, with the scream. Let's take a look at this scream. Okay, I'm pausing it here. You got a couple guys here just laying there on the ground laughing their asses off. It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, so that happened. Apparently this is normal. The game industry is falling apart around us. We're flocking to San Francisco for a week to pretend like it's fine. And GDC Scream event announced states, let's take a minute where we all stop pretending, express how we feel to be a game developer in 2024. Now, this is all, I have to assume this is all from the situation of the many layoffs that have happened. But later on down here, speaking to PC Gamer at the event, Siegel said that he was prompted to organize the event by the frustrations he felt over widespread layoffs and the recent Gamergate 2.0 controversy over narrative consultancy firm Sweet Baby Inc. We're now screaming at the top of our lungs because of everything that has been shown to light. People are showing off how they have racist takes, how they sit there and use affirmative action to hire for their companies. And now we're just going to sit there and scream about it and let all the frustrations go, forget that it ever happened, and move on. That's pretty much what the scream is supposed to be. On top of the layoffs, there's been so many people getting laid off in the industry, but the layoffs are a bunch more of the company bloat that happened throughout the pandemic. People were playing games immensely. Sales rose, so they usually when sales rise like that, people's jobs start to open up and they hire a bunch of people. But then subsequently, everyone stopped the pandemic sort of situation and went back to normal lives. And so everything comes back down. It's this roller coaster ride that we saw. It's a boom and bust situation. I live in Alberta. I know what boom and bust means. From one day to the next, my job is never safe. One day I'm at work, I can be working great. The next day I'm laid off. This is the nature of things in Alberta. I would love it where if I could just sit there and work 365 days out of the year, or less the vacation time. But this is the way the things go with layoffs, and we're just in a downward trend of the game industry. It'll return. It will. $300 billion in that industry. You're not going anywhere. There's going to be many more jobs for it. The job market in the game industry is just flooded. So to sit there and have this scream out is more about the controversy, the Gamergate 2 controversy with Sweet Baby Inc. John Siegel continues and says that this was their way of just letting their frustrations out over the state of the game industry because everyone's getting laid off, and then the narrative design situation with Sweet Baby Inc. To the next one here. So you have been canceled, now what? This is something that's absolutely hilarious. Been put on by someone at Feminist Frequency. I thought was a debunked company. I thought they went under, but apparently not. Nope, it was put on by Jalen. Talking about how you can come back from being canceled. This is a very interesting one. Can someone who has hurt others, even repeatedly, actually change? What comes after the call out? What can some do if they have been called problematic but aren't totally sure why? Or after losing friends, jobs, and networks, how does one person move forward if they want to show someone who won't cause that type of harm, even unintentionally, again? This is pretty much a struggle session. This is where they line you up and they smack you around, and you now have to obey to their terms. We saw this throughout the last few years where people were getting on their knees and licking people's shoes or kissing their shoes in a session, talking about past histories that we have absolutely nothing to do with at this point in time in your own life. These things are not healthy. This is not healthy at all to get over. It's pick up the pieces and move on. I see this as more of you're getting completely beat down as a human being. I've sat here on this channel many a times. I get yelled and screamed many different names. I've had many different things in my comment sections over some of the videos I've done, especially over Baldur's Gate 3. But I don't sit there and look at it as I'm being canceled or anything like that. I look at it and go, okay, that's fine. That's your take on it. If that's where you want to go, I'm going to move on. I'm going to continue making videos and not have to attend something like this where you just feel like you're in a struggle session. Now, Grums over on Twitter, this is the Blizzard dev. Take this, the organization with ties to government funding that defending Sweet Baby harassment and Cabrutus is holding 2 talks at GDC. This is also pointing out that Rachel Court of Take This, this is the government-funded paper that came out from Homeland Security, and you also have Christina Walker and Eve Cherovichet, about retaining diverse employees, taking the next step in DEIB. I'm guessing the B means belonging. Yes, people belong at work, but it shouldn't raise one or another. If you screw up at work, you pay the consequences. I deal with it all the time. If I screw up, I deal with it and fix it, right? And then this other one was advocacy microtalks, culture, civics, and karma. So trying how to be a better activist. People being activists in these spaces. Let's take a real good look at that. A real good thought process here. That's where this is going. You know, Rachel Court, they fell into something, and now it's being pushed forward. Ultimately, it's absolutely crazy. Now, GDC has a lot of good things going for them. It's a very big networking conference, pretty much. If you're in the games industry and you're up and coming, this is something that you probably will be going to. But the cost to go to this is absolutely crazy. Just to go to the expo is $400. For an all-access pass is almost $2,500 per person. I mean, that's insane. You also get like a 1-year vault access, meaning you can go through the conferences, which in a lot of cases you can probably find online. There is so much money in this industry. It's absolutely heartbreaking to know that this is where all the money went. And, you know, going back to the Screamfest, those that are sitting there screaming about it, you know, when you have to pay this much money to go sit in a park and then scream about it, I think you got to look at your priorities a little bit better. So for the first attending, like, this is what I mean about an up-and-coming style of developer going it. Bucky, Palworld and Craftopia. This is one of the developers, I believe the actual owner of Palworld. Pocket Pair is their company. Palworld and Pocket Pair's first GDC was surreal, but also not quite what I expected it to be. I've only ever been to the Tokyo Game Show, so I sort of expected GDC to be similar, but with American flags. However, while TGS is very much just a celebration of games, GDC is a lot more about the games industry. At least that's what everyone kept saying. There is a weird vibe about GDC. You come across a tiny booth, one PC showcasing Veldheim, and you'll have to walk past 6 Web3 booths, 4 crypto startup booths, and 2 huge displays about investment firms before eventually stumbling upon another lone PC showing off a game. There's a predatory vibe about the whole event too, and this is what I mean. When you're spending $2,500 to go to an event like this, it is very predatory. Everyone has this mindset of what's everything in the games industry, $300 billion industry right now. So of course you're going to have this predatory vibe there because there is money flowing. There is so much money at this conference. You set up anything that can make money. That's why. I generally felt like a huge amount of people I interacted with had no idea about Palworld or even gaming, but heard that Fortnite makes zillions of V-Bucks sales and wanted to get into the gaming space. Of course, I met a lot of Palworld fans, which was so fun, and I also got the opportunity to meet some industry legends whose passion and commitment to the games blew me away. Those meetings alone made the whole trip worth it. The sessions were awesome, the gamers a joy to meet, but the opportunities we, the Palworld team, had were incredible. But there's just a bit of bad vibe around GDC as a whole. I wish I could explain it better. I suppose as nice as everyone was, I really only care about games. Maybe the 11-hour flight back to Tokyo will give me the time to reflect properly, although I'll probably just spend it watching Dragon Dogma 2 videos. Well, that's GDC in a nutshell, where people go to scream, people get uncancelled through a struggle session, and normal people like the developers of Palworld go and see it with their own eyes and have their own tellings of the situation. And I'm going to leave the video right here. I've been your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I am signing off here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.